Hey guys, Rick Stone here from Our Stoney Acres. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be talking about planting tomatoes, and I'm going to try and bust up a few of the myths that are out there. I had a viewer that asked me a question, there's so many things out there about what you should be putting in the hole when you plant and everything. And I wanted to kind of bust up some of those myths and talk about just the simple, easy methods for planting your tomatoes in your backyard garden. Before we get started though, please make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel, click that notification bell so that you get notice every time I release new videos. And do me a favor, we're just getting started over on Instagram. Please go over and follow us there as well. There's a link down in the description for you to do that. Always remember that tomatoes are a warm season crop and they are very frost sensitive. So you're going to be planting your tomatoes after your last spring frost, unless you use one of these guys. So I've got a video on using Walla Waters and I'll link up here for you. You can use these Walla Waters and you can see this guy's actually been in for about 4 weeks now, and he was in before our last frost. And so I'm actually going to be taking that off today. We've actually already have a few blossoms in there, and so it's good stuff. So you can do that, but otherwise if you're planting it directly into the garden, you need to make sure that you are planting after your last spring frost. Okay, so let's talk about planting our tomatoes. So I've got a nice little Roma tomato plant here. This isn't a start that I grew myself. I've got other starts that I grew myself that are going to go in, but I only plant one Roma every year, and so I just bought this start. Let's talk about a few basic things that you can learn about tomatoes first. Number one, if you look really close at a tomato along the stem, you'll see these little hairs, okay? Those are actually points where roots can develop if we plant those tomatoes in the ground. And so there's a couple of different methods that you can use to actually get the tomatoes in the ground. So first off, with this Roma, it's got a nice thin stem. You can see here, so let's get you up a little closer. Nice thin stem. It's pliable and easy to use. I've got another one here. So this is a sun sugar, but it's stockier. See how much stockier it is, and this stem is a lot firmer, okay? This one we're gonna plant deep, but this Roma, because it's got a pliable stem still, we're actually gonna plant this one sideways, okay? And either method will work really well, and the reason why we're gonna do this is because that will then allow roots to continue growing along this stem. So anything we put in the ground, more roots are gonna grow. That is going to give us a stronger overall root ball. It'll make your plant more resistant to drought and just make it an overall stronger, better plant. So we actually want to plant these guys a little bit deep in the ground. Tomatoes are the only plant that we can do this to, okay? No other plants root along a stem like this, and so you're not going to plant your peppers deep, you're not going to plant your beans or anything else like that. You're not going to plant deep. It's only tomatoes that you can do this, okay? Now before we do that though, we don't want to plant any of these leaves in the ground. So we want to make sure that these leaves do not get in the ground, because that will give us an opportunity to introduce more disease potential if those leaves are in the ground. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take all of these leaves off, and you want to pinch them. So let me get up here close again, and we're going to pinch these guys off. We don't want to pull or drag them off, because that will damage the stem, okay? And what we want to do is we want to choose the spot, and I think this spot right here is where I want the plant to be planted, that deep. So we'll pinch off this one too, and then we've got this nice long stem here that can be planted in the ground, okay? So with this first one, is what we're going to do is we are going to plant this one sideways, okay? And then with this one, we're going to go deep, and this plant's a little bit taller. I'm going to strip off these leaves down here, and again, you want to pinch them off, and I think we'll go about that deep, and so we'll get that one about there. So before we actually put these guys in the ground, let's talk a little bit about what we should be putting in the hole, okay? So there's all kinds of stuff out there. People will say put Epsom salt in, or put eggshells, or even a whole egg, or a banana peel, or all these different things. A fish head, I've heard, okay? I'll be honest with you, I fell victim to these myths for a while, and for many years I would throw all kinds of stuff in the hole. But as I started to do my research, and as I kind of observed my garden, it really didn't make any difference. Putting all of that stuff in the hole didn't make a single bit of difference between the plants, and so all of those things just really aren't necessary, and you don't need to fuss about any of that, okay? I take care of my soil. I know my soil is in good shape. I amend it every year with compost and take good care of it, make sure that it's always in good shape. And so I'm confident that there's plenty of nutrients in my soil, and I really don't need to do a lot to my soil. And tomatoes really don't need a lot of fertilizer. They're not big fertilizer users, so even if you are going to put some fertilizer in, you need to be careful that you don't use too much, because the thing we don't want is we don't want a lot of top growth and leafy growth and then no fruit. So you have to be careful with what you're going to do. So if you really feel like that you need to put some fertilizer in, then here's my recommendation. Choose an organic, and this happens to be Joby's. It doesn't matter. This is not a sponsored video. So just any type of organic fertilizer. And the reason why you're going to choose an organic is because it's not going to burn. And you're going to put about 2 tablespoons, okay, of that in the hole, okay? And then mix that in a little bit, and then you're ready to go. And that's really all you need to do, if even that. Most years I don't even put any fertilizer in at all. So you really don't have to fuss about Epsom salts and fish heads and banana peels and all that kind of stuff. It really just doesn't make a difference. All of the science studies and everything that the universities have done show that it really doesn't matter. Okay, so let's get these guys planted. So let's start here with the, this is the Roma, and we're going to plant this one sideways. And the reason why we're going to plant it sideways is look at all of this. So let me carefully get this out. Number one, very nice transplant. I wish I could take credit for this one, but this is actually a store-bought transplant. Nice root ball, not overly done, so that's a good thing. It's not root bound or anything yet. But see, look at all of that stem that can go under the ground, and it's nice and pliable. It already kind of had a bit of a bend to it anyways, and so basically we're just going to lay this guy sideways in the trench. So we're just going to put it right in there, and I've got a trench that's long enough for this plant, and we're going to just fill it in so that we get it planted right there to those leaves. So that's it. Just lay it on its side, put it in, away you go. Now let's talk about the one that we're going to plant deeper. Again, this is a little bit older transplant. Still not too bad. The roots are in good shape. Not too much of a root ball here. And we're just going to put this guy in deep. So we're going to plant it in deep, and we want it to be as deep as we can here. So let's get this guy in here. So it really is that simple. You just put it in the hole. You don't need to worry about all of these other things, the Epsom salts and the fish heads and all that kind of stuff. Just isn't important, okay? Just get it in the hole and make sure that you water it well, and your tomatoes should just do fantastic. All right, so that's all I have for you for today. Really simple, and I wanted to kind of keep this a short video and not overcomplicate the process of planting your tomatoes, because it just really is as simple as you saw there. Stick it in the ground and away you go. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click that notification bell so that you get notice every time I release new videos, which is about once a week. And then also please make sure you go over and follow us on Instagram, because we're starting to really enjoy being over there. A lot of good stuff there as well. So please come follow us there as well. Okay, one other thing that I did want to remind you of is the Gardening Academy. Please make sure that you check that out. There's a link down in the description below. You can check out the Gardening Academy, which is our monthly subscription service where I teach you how to become a better gardener. Great program. A lot of great people in it right now, and so I would love to have you guys come join us there as well. Okay? All right, that's all I have for you for this week. Everybody have a great week. Happy gardening.